हेलो फ्रेंड्स, आज मैं एक नया एक्सपेरिमेंट करने जा रही हूँ। अभी हाल ही में मैंने एक अपना रिसर्च पेपर कंप्लीट किया है, द टाइटल ऑफ विच इज़ परमाणु इन जर्निज्म। एक्चुअली द फिलोसफी ऑफ परमाणु इन जर्निज्म, द इनविजिबल yet physical God particle. So I am going to present this presentation and I hope I will be successful because I don't have any much of this experience, this kind of experience. So I am starting this presentation now. Friends, science and philosophy, I think both are concerned with finding the reality and nature of things. Where science focuses on discovering through experimentation of the physical, philosophy aims to peel off the layers of a specific through valid reasoning. Both deal with the restlessness of mankind and motivate the same to find the secrets of the universe. So, finding the smallest indivisible particle of matter is one such quest of science, which is inevitable philosophical. So, when we look at India's ancient history, ancient wisdom, we notice that ancient Indian scientists were the ones who researched immensely, not only to know the matter and the soul, but also their relationship and differentiation with each other. So, if we ask a common person, what do you mean by the God particle? I assume that any common person will define the God particle as the ultimate fragment of matter which cannot be divided further, like the absolute particle of matter, right? So, in this context, the present generation can peep into the philosophical texts of the Indian philosophy of Jainism, where the same particle is termed Parmanu or Param Anu, which translates into English as the absolute atom. And in this paper, we are going to discuss about the attributes of the absolute atom as described in this Indian philosophy, in India's ancient wisdom, you can say. When we talk about Jainism, Parmanu or the absolute atom is the smallest indivisible unit of matter known as Pudgal. Pudgal is known as matter in Jainism, so known as Pudgal in Jain philosophy. And just like the soul can only be realized, our ancestors have found out that soul is a matter of realization. You cannot prove it on a logical basis. So, just like the soul can only be realized, understanding the Parmanu is also a matter of realization at a deeper level. This way, the soul and the Parmanu become the subject matter of philosophy. We can say that. So, when we see the modern definition of matter, we see material substance constitutes the observable universe and together with energy forms the basis of all objective phenomena. This is the definition of matter. Whereas when we see the definition of Pudgal is known as matter in Indian philosophy of Jainism. So, don't get confused in the words. Try to grasp the essence. So, definition of Pudgal is that which has the innate nature of association and dissociation. Such corporeal inert substance is termed as Pudgal. So now we see what are the daily life examples of association and dissociation of matter. We see matter or Pudgal, they are the same, right? So during each of our doing, we see that be it as an individual or at a collective level, we use objects which join and get separated all along, right? For example, in the morning we get up, we brush our teeth, and whatever we do, we make a cup of tea or coffee for ourselves. We see that in every act we perform, we see that there is union and separation happening of different objects. And then we notice that similar happenings of alliance and separation keep happening not only throughout one's personal life, but also with everyone around us. For example, be it relationships or whatever. I think you can tell yourself many examples, many daily life examples where we see association and dissociation of material objects. So moving ahead, we see that these acts of union and dissolution are possible because at a subtler level, the tiniest part of matter has this innate ability, right? I think we can see that. This is the materiality of matter, we can say. And then we see that in the philosophical text named Tatvarth Sutra, this text is based on the nature of reality. Acharya Uma Swati describes the nature of Pudgal as the clusters of matter and single atoms have material qualities. So here we see that the clusters as well as the single atoms, both of them have material qualities, and because atoms have these material qualities, it reflects in the clusters, right? So we can say that material nature of the absolute atom reflects in the bunches of matter. Yeah. So for example, when we see a single, I have taken a very simple, simple analogy to describe this phenomena. I know that at a subtler level this will not work. So when we see a single grain of an uncooked lentil, cannot be located if fallen on the ground. So if your mom or if I am working in the kitchen and we see we are making some lentil, some dal, and one grain if fallen on the ground, it cannot be located. Whereas it becomes easier to find the same if it is many in number, right? This is very observable. We observe that a single grain has the same taste and qualities as the group of grains of the same lentil. We all know that. Due to which the specific flavor of that lentil is possible. We will agree with this. So using the same analogy, we see that the existence of Parmanu can be inferred by observing their collective effect. So a single Parmanu cannot be located, but if it is in groups, we will discuss it further as well. But if it is in group, we can definitely see its effect and observe it, are able to observe it. Indian philosopher Acharya Umaswati also explains the number of units in clusters of matter may be numerable, innumerable, or even infinite. So this is the beauty of even the atom, that it is philosophical. When we take the example of the lentil, we see once it is cooked, it becomes hard to know how many grains it contains. I am trying to justify the saying of Acharya Umaswati, which I just said, the number of units in clusters of matter may be numerable, innumerable, or infinite. So we see in the example of the lentil, once it is cooked, it becomes hard to know how many grains it contains. This uncertainty increases with the quality of the cooked lentil. For example, when the same lentil gets cooked in a household, the units of the lentil can be counted or at least assumed or guessed. But when the same gets cooked at a charity kitchen where thousands and thousands of people are eating at the charity kitchen, at the langar or something like that, the lentil is in the process of getting cooked continuously. It becomes tougher to count the exact number of units, right? So we can apply this analogy on the atom, that in any tiny object or a bigger object, there are countless infinite atoms. So now I'm going to give you some food for thought. Have you ever thought, and then we will clarify these doubts. Have you ever thought, why cannot one rejoin the broken branch with its tree? On the contrary, why does milk reunites with its contemporaries? Why cannot one capture one's own shadow? Do words have a physical existence, or are they merely philosophical? Why is one born to one's parents only? Is there a science behind everything, or everything exists casually? So, dealing with all the above queries which I just portrayed in front of you, Kundakunda Acharya describes in his text Panchastikaya, written around the 2nd century CE, about how wood, water, words, light and darkness, and all subjects that belong to the senses. We have 5 senses, we all know that. So all the subjects that belong to the senses, along with those which are even beyond sensory perception like karma, etc., fall into the category of matter, known as Pudgal in Jain philosophy. So Honorary Acharya has divided the types of Pudgal into 6 categories, from gross to subtle. So if we see very, very gross, first category is very gross, those objects that do not recombine themselves once separated from their source. For example, wood and stone. We will not go into detail. I give this to you, to contemplate further. Second is gross. Those objects that recombine themselves again even after getting separated, such as milk, water, oil and purified butter, which in Indian kitchens we call it ghee. Third category is gross subtle, which has the quality of gross as well as subtle. So those material substances that appear gross but cannot be separated or held by hands, such as sunlight, shadow and moonlight. So this is the beauty of Indian philosophies, that they have described about the light, sunlight and moonlight as well. Fourth category is subtle gross. those substances which are subtle but appear to be gross, like touch, taste, smell, and word. For example, right now I am uttering some words from my mouth. So these words are audible through your ears, right? So these substances are also belong to the category of Pudgal or matter. Fifth category is subtle. Those substances which are minute and cannot be grasped through the senses, for example, karma. Karma are described as non-living things in Indian philosophies. Sixth category is even beyond karma. This is described as subtle substances that are even subtler than the karma, such as a highly minute aggregate of atoms. So again, we will not go into detail for this. Then we seeing the description of the gross and the minute matter, we notice that even the understanding of matter is more philosophical and less about trying to prove the same on a logical ground. One may ponder the material nature of light, darkness, words, etc. When we dive into the metaphysics of life, we notice that consciousness is inevitably bound to express itself through matter. For example, a writer writes poetry or stories. So forms, whenever the consciousness expresses itself through form, you can say. So as even life is a manifestation of matter. As in Indian philosophy, the body of a being is considered matter that takes shape according to the karma of a specific being. We see that. Now we are coming towards skandha and molecule. Skandha, Pudgal has been further described as, due to its mutual bonding only, different ordinary and peculiar objects get produced in the world, which are termed as skandha. Touch, taste, smell, and color are the prominent attributes of Pudgal. So this definition is similar to the definition of molecule, because molecule is a group of two or more atoms that form the smallest identifiable unit into which a pure substance can be divided and still retain the composition and chemical properties of the substance, right? So now we are moving ahead. For example, a water molecule starts to own the attributes of water when it becomes touch, taste, smell, and color worthy by the union of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. When we try to probe further, we realize that even an atom, be it hydrogen or oxygen, is made up of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Now again, which are made up of quarks, such as for example, each proton and each neutron we see contains 3 quarks, right? Indian philosopher and Saint Acharya Kunda mentions in the philosophical treatise about matter, written in the 1st century BC, Panchastikaya, that skandha is made up of infinite parmanus. So we see that physicists today can peel off the material substances layers in a beautiful way. However, we notice that there still lies a gateway of possibilities of infinite absolute atoms inside even the tiniest particles found by far. Acharya Kunda also conveyed that even words result from bilateral abrasion of many such skandha, because sound, no matter if it gets shaped through speech or writing, is also Pudgal in nature. Acharya mentions that a word gets produced due to the mutual friction of many such skandha. So we see that everything that has physicality in the universe has identical foundational God particles which can only be grasped when they are in skandha or groups. Hence, a word is also a product. Now coming to the main lead of this research paper, Parmanu, the absolute atom as described in the Jain philosophy. So the philosopher Acharya describes Parmanu as the last outline, the last iota, the ultimate halt of all the skandha is Parmanu. The Parmanu is eternal, which means indestructible in the past, present and future, without sound, occupies only one space point and is monolithic. Moving ahead towards other attributes of Parmanu, the Parmanu is eternal, which means it is forever indestructible. It is capable as well as incapable of providing space to others, and due to occupying only one space point, it keeps its formlessness and similar attributes intact. I know this is high philosophy. I hope you will be able to, provoke some thought in your minds, because this kind of stuff really excites me. Okay, moving ahead. Because of occupying one space point only, its beginning, middle, and end are all the same. it is indivisible and monolithic. That is why it does not have any scope for anything else. Due to the attribute of occupying one space point, it has the strength to penetrate the skandha into many pieces. So, this attribute of Parmanu is similar to the same quality of the neutrino, as neutrinos are nearly massless particles that can move as easily through lead as we move through air, and they are notoriously difficult to pin down. Scientist Michio Kaku also writes in his book Beyond Einstein that neutrinos leave no traces of their presence, they can easily penetrate through the earth. This is mind-boggling indeed. Now, the next query that arises in reader's mind is that if the Parmanu has the ability to penetrate the skandha, how come it is able to make one? Acharya leaves no stone unturned as he clarifies further that it is also the doer of the skandha. Due to its potency of union, it produces the molecules. So the Parmanu is the main lead behind every physical object. Then we see, just like words are the products of Pudgal, the non-living matter. We need the help of Pudgal to understand the abstract nature of time, because actually time is abstract in nature. For practical purposes, we are supposed to give symbols and forms and units to the concept of time, which is made of non-living matter again. So the teacher mentions the Parmanu is the one that divides the time and measures and calculates the numbers. Parmanu is the building block for everything that is not abstract, and as soon as mathematics enters into the numeric dimension, it becomes material. We see that Jain metaphysics maintains that Parmanu is both cause and effect of the material world. So to conclude, I would like to say this Indian philosophy opens the gateway to enormous possibilities for future research that take us to know the absolute atom in its totality. Ancient Indian philosophers were sole scientists and left no stone unturned when they researched the intimate relationship between consciousness and matter. So when we realize the opposite nature of matter and the soul, and that what we consider ourselves is not us but matter, we transform and embark on our spiritual journey, which is the need of the hour. So at last we can say, be it science, philosophy or religion, each subject aims to find the secrets of the universe and how things work. Keeping this in mind, all can go hand in hand to travel towards the ultimate destination, to achieve absolute knowledge. In the context of absolute atom, we can say the soul travels to become the Paramatma in the journey to know the Parmanu. In English, I would say it again. The soul travels to become the absolute soul in the journey to know the absolute atom. That is it for now, friends. You can find the link in the description box to go through the whole paper, where I have also given description about matter and atom in different philosophies, in different Asian Indian philosophies. What is matter by far in modern physics? So you can definitely find the link in the description box. That's it for now. Thank you so much. Take care and goodbye.